Now let's hear from Ilhan Omar, a woman who seemingly loads the country that gave her refuge. Here she claims that free, democratic America is one of the worst places on earth.
I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets.
Joining me now is Sky News contributor Teena McQueen. Teena, is Ilhan Omar right? Is America becoming one of the worst countries on earth with a dictatorship worse than that seen in third world countries?
Oh, she's an absolute joke, Rita. Honestly, she says it's such an oppressive country to live in, yet, you know, she's a senator. She has all the luxuries and privilege of that high office. It's unbelievable. She does nothing but whinge and complain the whole time. I don't know how she gets voted in continually, to be honest. She's an absolute disgrace.
Well, if you look at the place that keeps electing her, you'll get an idea why she keeps getting re-elected. Now, President Trump was elected on an America First agenda, and that included no foreign wars that don't serve America's interests. Have a listen to this argument between Tucker Carlson and Senator Ted Cruz. Tucker Carlson is certainly in the group who do not want to see America involved in any sort of foreign conflict, particularly in Iran. But this argument got very fiery.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population.
You don't know the population of the country you seek to topple?
How many people live in Iran?
92 million.
Okay. Yeah,
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that relevant?
Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and
What percent?
predominantly Shia. Okay,
it's not
okay.
even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who
don't know anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
You don't believe they're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that...
We're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
Teena, what Americans need to understand is that the Iranian regime's ultimate ambition is not the annihilation of just Israel, but of what they call the Great Satan, America. I remember when I was a kid in Tehran in school chanting "Death to America" every morning. That is their agenda. And Trump's efforts in ending the regime's nuclear ambition is an America First position, but so many on the right don't see it that way.
No, you're exactly right, Rita. Look, Trump, America First, he's sticking to the agenda he's always said he would. The main thing is that Iran cannot possibly have any access to any sort of nuclear arms. You know, Trump isn't trying to overthrow the regime. Naturally, we'd all love to see the regime overthrown, but this is Israel's attack. Trump is doing everything he can for peace, and actually he's keeping everyone guessing. No one knows what his next move is going to be, but certainly he won't want his troops going in. He'll certainly support Israel, which of course Tucker has really turned on Israel. So that may be the cause of his angst in that interview and his frustration.
But do you see this though as a massive risk to the Trump agenda in fracturing his supporter base, or is it just a few loud voices who are really behind this campaign against any sort of involvement with America with this Iranian-Israeli conflict? I mean, so far, really, Israel has led the charge, and the Americans have said that we stand by them. We haven't seen any strikes from America yet.
That's right. America hasn't done anything other than support Israel and, state the fact they don't want any nuclear arms. Look, it's a few very loud voices. In the end, I think the Americans that voted for Trump, and his popularity is still strong for second-term president, better than Obama or Bush, I think they'll stand by him and trust in him. And that's what they have to do, because ultimately he'll do what's right for America.
And there are some loud voices who supported Donald Trump who now want to see him impeached. They're not many, but they are loud, like comedian Dave Smith, who, by the way, has been calling for Trump to be impeached and imprisoned for years. He supported Trump for all of 5 minutes and is back to wanting him impeached.
I would be very happy for to see Donald Trump impeached for the illegal, immoral, borderline war of genocide that he's been helping the Saudis conduct in Yemen. Even grading on a curve. He is a war criminal who deserves to be tried and buried under the prison, just right alongside Barack Obama and George W. Bush and John McCain and all the rest of them. Let me just say this real quick. Donald Trump should be in prison for war crimes for what he did to the people of Yemen. How's that for taking on the right? You're just defending your Democratic president. Good. I actually stand on principle. Lockdowns and keeping Fauci on the job, and Yemen and Israel and Iran, and there's just like the government spending, and there's just a lot of them that it's like I just kind of can't forgive him for, but I think I might vote for Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump looks, and man, I supported him this last year. I apologize for doing so. It was a bad calculation. At the time, it seemed like the right one, but he should be impeached and removed for this one.
But Donald Trump has campaigned on stopping the Iranian regime getting their grubby hands on nukes for years.
Don't let Iran have nuclear weapons. That's my only thing I have to tell you today. Don't let them have it. They would have never had them, including Iran. They can't have a nuclear weapon. That's all. They can't have nuclear weapons. It's too destructive, too powerful. They can't have it. But I wanted to make a deal with them. No nuclear weapons. You can't have nuclear weapons.
Teena, I've got another 16 minutes of vision of Donald Trump saying that over the years. Just hundreds of times he has said this publicly, that he doesn't want to see the Iranian regime get nukes. They can't get nukes. It would be disastrous for the world. And yet it seems like his position at the moment is being treated as some backflip when it's always been what he's campaigned on.
It's always been the case. You know, the nuclear threat is not only to Israel, as you said, Rita, it's to the whole of the Western world. So he's been very consistent on this, and I think it's, he's been right to do so.
Now let's go to the New York Post reporting that Border Patrol agents didn't release a single migrant into the US last month, a staggering drop after the Biden administration allowed 62,000 illegal immigrants crosses into the country in May 2024. So just, you can't get much better than that, a drop to zero within a year. And it just shows, Teena, that everything the political pundits and activists told us was untrue. They said there were push factors behind this. There was nothing the Biden administration could do, when really, as soon as you took the sugar off the table and you enforced some tough policies, the flood of illegal immigrants stopped.
Unbelievable. A 95% drop since May 24. So different to what the Biden administration, who actively encouraged these illegal immigrants. It was always, oh, don't worry about going through legal channels, come in the easy way. It's insane. And Donald Trump and his administration should be given great credit for this. It's saving the country a fortune, and not to mention the, keeping those dangerous illegal, a lot of them, out of the country.
Well, that was the issue, wasn't it? When you've got literally millions crossing illegally every single year, unvetted, amongst them, you're going to have people who are not good people, and they released the figures in recent years, just a disturbing number of killers, rapists, all sorts of criminals who were able to walk freely in the US.
And not to mention those sanctuary cities, they were given accommodation, phones, credit cards, all sorts of things that veterans and homeless Americans never had access to, Rita.
Now, this is another win for the MAHA movement, Make America Healthy Again. Kraft Heinz has announced that it will remove artificial food dyes from its products within the next 2 years. And another major manufacturer, General Mills, announced a similar measure. They've pledged to remove artificial colours from its full US retail portfolio by the end of 2027. Good news for the US, but I wonder if we're consuming some of these artificial colourings, Teena, right here in Australia. But this is really what RFK Jr. has been on about, to get some of these ultra-processed foods to be a little bit more healthy for the human body.
Well, what a great appointment RF Kennedy turned out to be. He's doing what's right, particularly for children. I mean, the obesity rates amongst children and adolescents in America is just disgraceful. He's embarrassed by that, and he wants to make America healthy again. These are the right steps, and if he continues down this path, he will turn around the health crisis America does have at the moment, Rita.
And to have two major food manufacturers on the same day make this announcement, Teena, I think is really quite significant. How important is the MAHA movement to the overall Trump agenda? Because it seems to be the one part of his agenda that has got supporters from all sorts of backgrounds. You've got a lot of people who may identify as left-leaning who understand what RFK Jr. is trying to achieve here.
Well, I think the Kennedy name has a lot of pull. He's obviously a man of integrity. He's been dedicated to this for many of years, and he always looks back to the presidency of his uncle, where health and fitness was, high on the agenda. He wants to bring those days back, and again, it's the right move, Rita. But he does unite everyone from across the board, across the political spectrum.
Teena, before you go, Australia's relationship with the US is somewhat fractured right now. Who would you suggest we send in to try to heal the relationship? I don't think Kevin Rudd's the man for the job. Who is your pick?
No, I don't think he is. Look, there's a number of eminent Australians that could fit that bill. And also the former ambassador to America, I think he would do a great job. Gina Reinhart has a great relationship with the administration. Any one of those would be better than Kevin Rudd, but it's certainly fractured at the moment, Rita.
It certainly is, and Kevin Rudd just cannot stay in that role. That relationship is too important. Teena McQueen, thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thanks, Rita.